A hiker found a weird black object in the middle of the forest, but within minutes, men in black suits appeared. James often explored the quiet forest, but one day he found something strange, a massive object partly buried in the ground. Black cables stretched from its base, disappearing into the earth. It didn't look natural at all. As James moved around it, trying to understand what it was, a loud bang suddenly echoed through the forest. The sound was so strong that James collapsed to the ground and passed out. When he woke up, someone was carrying him. His vision slowly cleared, and he realized it was a park ranger. James felt too weak to move, so he stayed quiet. After a while, the ranger put him down and began to explain. James had unknowingly found a secret government experiment involving controlled explosions and chemical reactions. These experiments were meant to stay hidden, far away from the public eye. Before leaving, the ranger paid James to ensure his silence. With no choice but to accept, James walked away, leaving the strange object behind. But he couldn't stop thinking about what he had found. Next day, he returned to the forest and planned something very dangerous. This time, he was carrying a camera and a small notebook to document everything. He moved cautiously, retracing his steps to the same spot. When he arrived, the object was gone. At first, he thought he might have been mistaken, but the ground told a different story. Deep tracks and drag marks stretched across the forest floor, leading in one direction. Without hesitation, James followed the trail. For hours, he navigated through thick trees and uneven terrain. Eventually, he reached a clearing he hadn't seen before. What he saw next made his heart race. The clearing was surrounded by a high metal fence, with armed men in black suits guarding the perimeter. Inside, the massive object sat in the center, now connected to various machines and equipment. Workers in hazmat suits moved around, checking cables and taking notes. It was clear this was no ordinary operation. James crouched behind the trees and zoomed in with his camera, capturing every detail. The object seemed even more unnatural than before, its metallic surface shimmering under the lights set up around it. As he observed, he noticed something strange, a faint pulsing glow coming from its base, as if it were alive. James scribbled in his notebook, noting everything he saw. He couldn't help but wonder why the government was so desperate to keep this hidden. The men guarding the site looked tense, their eyes scanning the area constantly. Suddenly, James heard a faint rustling behind him. He froze, heart pounding. Slowly, he turned his head and spotted a patrol heading his way. Without making a sound, James crawled deeper into the bushes, clutching his camera tightly. The patrol passed by, unaware of his presence. But James knew he couldn't stay much longer. However, when he returned home, he decided to destroy everything he recorded because he did not want to risk his life.